Live with you on SportsGrid. It is pro football today. I am Kevin Walsh, and that is Joe Lisi. It is a Sunday slate of action in the National Football League. Week number 8, Joe. So much to get into.
Oh, yeah. Playoff implications are on the line. Division titles are on the line. And for teams like the Baltimore Ravens and some of the others, backs against the wall, must-win situations today. And then we'll see the night game later tonight between big, bad Aaron Rodgers going up against his former team, the Green Bay Packers. Something's got to give in that matchup, but a great slate of action, week number 8.
No doubt about it. And Joe, you mentioned what is likely the biggest story on this Sunday right off at the top there, Lamar Jackson. And there's layers to this story. The quick catch-up is Lamar was practicing but limited, then a full. The Ravens popped to a 7-point favorite. And then the Ravens like, sorry, he's out. We completely, he actually didn't really even practice with any of the regular guys. And now this line has crashed down to 2.5 against the Chicago Bears. We are going to get into that in depth through a lot of angles within the next 10 minutes time. We also, though, have the trade rumor mill starting to pop up. We're going to talk to NFL insider Adam Kaplan in about an hour's time to get some insight. And there are some key names popping up here, Joe. We're going to get to what I think is this most surprising name to start. Brian Thomas Jr., year 2 star for the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you make of his name potentially being on the block?
Yeah, shocking. I mean, when his name popped up and we were talking about it in pre-production, I couldn't believe that, Thomas would be mentioned, not having the type of statistical season that he had last year where he was over 1,000 yards, teams leading receiver, explosive plays throughout the passing attack last year, but we've seen some critical drops in major games this year and just at times seems like not on the same page with Trevor Lawrence. And we saw Liam Cohen in the beginning already trade Tank Bigsby, who was right there to start the year, to the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's not afraid of pulling the trigger. What would they get for Brian Thomas? I'm sure they would get a first-rounder or potentially maybe a player swap in that type of situation. But he is definitely a playmaker that could add value to a team on the cusp, maybe even like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a name that 31 teams should be calling about because of his age and contract. The Jets should make the call like that. Now the Jets can't give up a first-round pick for him, but you get my point. I mean, think of him like a future first. He could help you win now. He could help you win tomorrow. He could help you win, a year from now. That is a very enticing option. I do wonder if how much of this is a Brian Thomas desire to get out and how much of it is the Jags not wanting Brian Thomas. It's a very weird balance. Not the only weird wide receiver situation in the National Football League. A.J. Brown, of course. A.J. Brown is out today with a hamstring injury. That designation didn't come with a few eyebrows raised seemingly across the league because A.J. finished the game against Minnesota healthy and then popped up on the injury report and is now out for the game. Maybe he was injured on that final play where he caught the game-sealing catch. Who knows, right? But we've now seen reporting, Joe, that teams are calling to see if A.J. Brown is available. Those reports have been met with others saying the Eagles will not trade A.J. Brown. They're 5-2, and this is a real story. It can't be ignored.
No, it can't. And we talked about the locker room situation and the continuity and being a cohesive unit and Sirianni getting ahead of it. And they put together one of their best offensive and defensive performances last week against the Minnesota Vikings. He breaks out. He hits pay dirt early in that matchup. They got him involved, and to your point, makes critical plays in the passing game to, seal the deal and convert on that third down. And you see this team, and they're talking about A.J. Brown still. It's an injury. We want him. Are we going to ship him? This situation has to play out in the sense of, I think he wants to be there, but at the end of the day, you can't disrupt the locker room every single week. And the Eagles need him to be there if they're going to make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, this is the oddness of the situation, really, where am sure teams are calling, and I understand why they are calling, because A.J. Brown, I mean, it is just, it's so much. It's all the time. It's now regardless of stat line, the Instagram posts. I mean, it's never ending right now with A.J. Brown. But I think, and this has been my stance for quite some time for Philly, the best version of this roster has A.J. Brown on it.
Right.
And they then are going to have to see this year out. Now, I think when we get to the offseason, Joe, he's as good as gone.
Right.
But I agree with you, for an Eagles team who this season is looking to repeat as Super Bowl champions, they have to just hope they can smooth this out. And I've said as much, by the way. I thought there was a stretch where maybe the best thing for everyone involved was A.J. Brown have an injury. Just get a little bit of a chance to reset. The Eagles are on their bye next week, so I would imagine he's back by week number 10. But again, maybe not. And maybe if the Eagles can keep winning and everybody's calm, then it's a little bit of a easier ride following that.
Yeah, but my point, here's the point, Kev. Does A.J. Brown want to go to, like, the Raiders? I mean, like, so you're so disgruntled, right? You're getting the football. You're not getting the football. You're winning games. You're 5-2. You're the team to beat still, in my opinion, right? For the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, the Chiefs are playing better, but you're the team that won a Super Bowl championship last year. Yeah. You're going to be there and have another opportunity to hoist the hardware. Would you be happy with Cleveland? Like I don't understand from AJ's perspective what he absolutely wants. Do you want to win games? Do you want to win a championship and be a part of that? Because at some point, you're going to be a part, whether it be in a 2-game stretch to a Super Bowl championship. You're going to eat eventually, but why be disgruntled each and every week?
Yeah, I think for A.J. Brown, if he had to pick between the two, it would be really tough. He's just of the mind he should not have to pick between the two, though he could look around this league and see some frustrated wide receivers. On Thursday, Joe, the Minnesota Vikings lose to the Chargers in brutal fashion. I mean, LA just walked this team up and down the field. Total yardage, 419 for LA to 164 for Minnesota. A 27-point victory. Game did sneak over the total. And Justin Jefferson finishes 774, 11 targets, but not happy as a Vikings team who last year was doing a lot of winning, this season is doing a lot of losing. And on deck, they have a trip to Detroit. We have to anticipate that'll be the return of J.J. McCarthy.
Right, and then what does that mean for that offense moving forward? I actually think Carson Wentz did a pretty good job while he was in there distributing the football to Addison, getting Jefferson involved. I mean, 7 receptions, 74 yards. I get that, but at the end of the day, you got blown out. And that was the main reason why you couldn't eat in that game is because your defense had no answers for Justin Herbert that abused them in the passing game. He threw 3 touchdowns. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, wide receivers are a huge part in this league now where it's pass happy. Yep. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a champion, you have to distribute the football to other playmakers. And again, big picture for Minnesota, I don't think it's going to get better for Jefferson with McCarthy there. It's not. He's still raw. He's inexperienced. And Carson Wentz, if you protect him, could still get the football to those guys. Again, I wouldn't make the change. Again, it's more of an offensive line problem. They couldn't run the football. Aaron Jones came back, big deal. But at the end of the day, this team is a one-trick pony.
They did put a lot of money into that offensive line. It's just not been healthy this year. There are going to be a number of quarterbacks today that will demand some attention. As you mentioned, Aaron Rodgers at home against the Green Bay Packers on a Sunday night will have all eyes on him. But not the only guy from the old guard who gets a run out today. Andy Dalton gets the football for the Carolina Panthers against the Buffalo Bills. Kirk Cousins gets the football for the Atlanta Falcons against the Miami Dolphins. Tyrod does not get the football against the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Flacco. Instead, it is Justin Fields, one more run at it for the New York Jets. But what is going on in Baltimore? We'll break that down next.
If you watch a Mavericks game every single play, he's arguing it
Every
with the
play.
referees. I mean, if I was
Like
a
this,
ref,
his hands are up. It's like, dude, everyone else is halfway up the floor right now. He's still back here arguing.
Yeah. I mean, I would tee him up. There is no doubt in my mind, Gabe, the NBA's got to go to these refs and say, listen, you know what? Swallow the whistle with him.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I am willing to bet on Wemby is a triple-double ladder season-long market. I did this actually with Caitlin Clark, who had a triple-double in Game 1 and then spent the rest of the season injured. I hope that does not happen with Victor Wembanyama. 3 triple-doubles at plus 165 should be absolutely no problem for Wemby. Had 2 his rookie season, 1 last year prior to the injury.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It is exactly why, like you said, Donnie, this time of year is the absolute best in sports. And first off, the NBA returned to NBC. And hearing that theme music, seeing Mike Tirico back on the call, seeing Michael Jordan on the screen, it just felt right? Like an old friend that you haven't seen in decades that walks back into your life.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi. Let's get into the Ravens and the Bears. If you look right now, it is a 2.5-point line, up to 3 in some spots. And Joe, I know you're very fascinated about where the line currently sits, but I do want to just try and talk about how we got here first. And this is something that I would like to say I think I did at least a decent job talking about in the lead-up. Here's what I mean. Lamar Jackson gets injured against the Kansas City Chiefs, and everybody seemingly knew right away he was not going to play the following week against Houston. And that was met with almost immediate, we'll see him week number 8 against Chicago. He'll miss the Texans game. He'll miss the Rams game, but they got a bye. He'll be fine off the bye. And what I just was unclear of is, are we just assuming he's going to be back off a bye? If there was a week 7 game, we would have ruled him out immediately, and the Bears spot is the target spot. I even felt throughout the week his practice reports were strange. I didn't find myself having full confidence that Lamar Jackson was going to be the guy in this game for the Ravens. And yet, on Friday, we were given that full confidence. 6.5 became 7 as the Ravens listed Lamar Jackson as a full participant in their Friday practice. And then they ruled him out. And they said they messed up the practice report because he was a full participant with the scout team, not the actual team. And Tyler Huntley's now going to get the ball. And this number's come crashing on down to 2.5, 3 as we listed. This story, though, has a lot more to it than Baltimore or the NFL would want. Simply does. Because an NBA gambling scandal involving Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, though Billups a little bit more about poker games than NBA games, yet still it's in the news, right? You have line manipulation. And the reason these injury reports exist in large part is to avoid what happened with this game here. We're supposed to know if Lamar's going to be in or out. Now, admittedly, 6.5s would have got crashed and the books would have been in a spot. But it was a full participant. There are likely some out there who were waiting for that news to place wagers on the Ravens and did as much and are now sitting there on a bad number.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden Lamar Jackson is not going to play in this game. I don't even know if he's going to be in the building. I mean, he probably will be, but he's not playing. He's not suiting up. It's just not a thing. I don't know if we're going to make a mountain out of it, Joe, but bad timing and bad job out of Baltimore messing this up.
Yeah, integrity issues, right? And perception. We always talk about what is the gambling situation with the Rozier and the NBA. What is the real problem, right? And it's the public's perception of the product. And same thing here with the NFL, where they have injury reports for specific reasons, and it's not just the gambling aspect. It is tied into fantasy and everything else and all the money that's wagered prop-wise and side-wise and total-wise. And the league and all the leagues put themselves with partners with multiple books. So if you're going to do that, then at least put out proper information that people can assess and make logical choices. That's all they're asking for. But we've seen a team in Baltimore do this with the injury reports in the past. Yeah. John Harbaugh and everyone, right, knows that Baltimore is guilty of this to some capacity. And how do you fix it now? You don't. And again, this is a team that has to win today because when you and I did this about, a week and a half ago, and we said, their odds to make the playoffs were at that particular time plus 138?
Yeah.
Right? And it all hinges on that Bear game. It all hinges on that Bear game. And I said, all right, let's see how they could still lose that game. And here we are talking about it. And I'm still shocked. Outside the Lamar issue, I'm still shocked that we see a team that has lost 4 straight games by an average margin of defeat, Kevin, of 18.2 points per game, has a quarterback instilled in Snoop Huntley that can't throw for more than 170 yards, and they're a 2.5-point favorite over a red-hot Ben Johnson and Chicago Bear team that won 4 straight by 7.7 points per game and is healthy at every level. I just can't figure it out.
Yeah, so I think that is, of course, that is the today piece of it, and that's where we're going to spend a lot of time. I just want to quickly say I think the timing of this from Baltimore could not be worse, though I do not think it is going. I don't think it's going to come out that Harbaugh, let a couple buddies know, hey, look, we're going to, Lamar, full, get in on a Bears +7. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think it was bad timing, and I really think that's what it is. All right, I think it was bad timing. I don't know how you messed that up, but they did. Maybe they were trying to do the gamesmanship thing, but what a wildly ineffective thing to be like, we're starting Lamar, and then 24 hours later, it's actually it's Tyler Huntley, as if that's going to completely mess things up for the Bears. That's that piece of it. But to where you are, let's forget today for a second, Joe. Are we sure Lamar plays Thursday against Miami?
No, there's
because it's not Sunday. It's a Thursday game.
I don't know.
I don't think that's a guarantee at all.
No. Now they said he will. We'll see what that means.
Sure, they said he was going to play this game all for weeks though.
But that's why we talk about these injury reports and we say, okay, what is the prognosis? What is the time frame? Where are we looking? And I'll throw in the Burrow situation for a start.
I know this is bothering you.
But I'm just saying, how come we hear about all these quarterbacks on the timeline and Joe Burrow still has he's on the sidelines. He's jumping, he's high-fiving, he's watching his team dismantle Pittsburgh with old man Joe Flacco. But there's another quarterback with no timetable. He didn't break an ankle. He's got turf toe with ligament damage. All right. Tape it up and let's go. I mean, but that's my point. There is so much money involved on multiple angles with this sport and this league. How can you screw it up?
Yeah, and I think to Joe's point, though, as well about the Ravens and their perception, even if Lamar is back on Thursday, does any of it matter if they lose to the Chicago Bears and find themselves 1-6? They enter today at +175 to win their division. They enter today at +128 to make the playoffs today.
It's crazy.
They enter today as a 2.5, 3-point favorite. What do we do with that line and this game as a whole? That is the question we try to answer next right here on SportsGrid.
watch a Mavericks game, every single play he's arguing with
Every
the
play.
referees. I mean, if I was
Like
a
this.
ref,
His
you know,
hands are up. It's like, dude, everyone
Yeah,
else is
yeah.
halfway up the floor right now. And he's still back here arguing.
yeah. I mean, I would tee him up. There is no doubt in my mind, Gabe, the NBA's got to go to these refs and say, listen, you know what? Swallow the whistle with him.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I am willing to bet on Wemby is a triple-double ladder season-long market. I did this actually with Caitlin Clark, who had a triple-double in Game 1 and then spent the rest of the season injured. I hope that does not happen with Victor Wembanyama. 3 triple-doubles at plus 165 should be absolutely no problem for Wemby. Had 2 his rookie season, 1 last year prior to the injury.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It is exactly why, like you said, Donnie, this time of year is the absolute best in sports. And first off, the NBA returned to NBC. And hearing that theme music, seeing Mike Tirico back on the call, seeing Michael Jordan on the screen, it just felt right? Like an old friend that you haven't seen in decades that walks back into your life.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid. Bears-Ravens is a monster game today. On the Baltimore side of it, they are booked as favorites. And to some, that could be puzzling. The defense has been a bigger problem, you could argue, than the Lamar absence. It certainly was the biggest problem when Lamar was around. It is the healthiest the unit has been in some time today. Maybe some optimism there. We also have a new quarterback. Cooper Rush was miserable in his starts for the Ravens. And his ineptness trickled down to Derrick Henry, who has not had the type of season I know Baltimore had hoped for. There were some glimmers, though, as Joe and I last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess at this point, had talked about Henry's workload, and that certainly came in. Finished the game with 24 carries, 122 yards. Didn't get into the end zone due to some nightmarish play calling inside the 5-yard line from the Ravens. Tyler Huntley gets the ball. As you said it, Joe, against what is a hot Bears team who've won 4 in a row. How do you try and break this game down?
I'm not going to overthink it. And we saw this situation, I believe, last year, if I'm not mistaken, when Chicago was on the losing streak. Mm-hmm. And I believe they went out to Arizona or they went out to another place, and they were getting points in that matchup. It was a public play, and they got absolutely smashed in that ball game. I'm going with the more consistent team. I cannot back Snoop Huntley in Baltimore in any way. I love Derrick Henry, and I believe the only way that they can win this game is if they run the football, shorten it, and try to get into the fourth quarter and steal it with the field goal. I do not have confidence in Baltimore offensively or defensively, and I know they had a better effort against Matt Stafford in the loss 17-3, but at the end of the day, they didn't put up points, and that's just going to wear down your defense. I love Chicago in this matchup. I'll take the 2.5 points on the road with a hot play caller, a team that has an identity, and a defense that's opportunistic lately and shut down Spencer Rattler and New Orleans last week, 26-14.
Yeah, I really struggle with this one, Joe.
Do you?
Because I do. This is funny, but we did this. We've done this 2 straight Ravens games where we just talk, like really, really talk. A lot of times we come in, we know what we like. You're going to have to get me to the Bears side. And I think it's going to be tough because I liked Chicago all week with Lamar in. Not a fade of Lamar, but a fade of the number. We saw it. It was going to be 7. I would have taken a chance that Caleb and the Bears could have hung with inside that number. I really would have. We now find ourselves in a really interesting spot, though, because this is the Ravens season on the line. We've done a lot about, Ravens schedule talk. Hey, they can win here, but I've said from the beginning, none of it matters if they lose to the Bears. I refuse to believe this team is going to be 1-6 and just rip off, 10 straight wins and find themselves into the postseason. I just don't think that's going to be a thing, really at all. The defensive side of the ball is what I'm wondering, can they step up? This feels like a lower scoring affair to me. That 45.5 looks a little tall. Like you're leaning Chicago. Where are you at on a final score? Like what's coming to your mind?
Well, I mean, they could get to the 45.5 easy.
And they?
Yeah, because if Chicago it all depends on which team is dictating the tempo. What do I mean by that? Well, if I'm Chicago and I'm Ben Johnson, I'm not going to play their style of football. I'm not going to look to run the football on the road. I'm sorry, not to start. I'm going to look to utilize the passing attack. I'm going to look to get all of my playmakers involved, including the running backs in the passing game. I'm going to jump out.
Because I've been looking at Caleb numbers, but I couldn't get to any of them. Like, I like Caleb Williams today.
I think Loveland is an option today.
I hear it.
Anytime. Right. So I think that's definitely going to be an option. Again, I like DJ Moore. And I know but again, he's not the number one, but I like him at pay dirt. I took him plus 270, anytime touchdown. I did alt him 50 plus. I believe, look, if Baltimore's going to come in with that defensive mind frame, the way they did against Matt Stafford, they're going to take away the number one option. Dunze's out, right? You could go to secondary options, but DJ Moore's still in that offense.
How do you feel about the Ravens offensively quickly before we hit the break?
The only he's been costing me, but I went back to the well because Rashad Bateman. I mean, 17.5. His number's 17.5.
Yeah, but that's not going to determine anything.
No, but it is what I asked. Put it this way. The only way Baltimore can cover this line is if they utilize Derrick Henry just the way they did against the Rams. How many carries did he get?
24.
24, right.
But you are not getting anything near. Derrick Henry's numbers look like Lamar's playing.
Yeah, but you're going to sit here and tell me, do you have confidence in Snoop, leading them down?
That's why I'm thinking under the game.
Yeah, but I think if Chicago jumps up, it's blowout.
All right, let's make the move to Sunday Night Football. If the Ravens are going to lose, Steelers a big benefactor. We'll talk about it next.
If you watch a Mavericks game, every single play he's arguing with the referees. I mean, if I was
like
the refs,
hands are up. It's like, dude, everyone else is halfway up the floor right now. There's no back here arguing.
Yeah. I mean, I would tee him up. There is no doubt in my mind, Gabe, the NBA's got to go to these refs and say, listen, you know what? Swallow the whistle with him.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I am willing to bet on Wemby is a triple-double ladder season-long market. I did this actually with Caitlin Clark, who had a triple-double in Game 1 and then spent the rest of the season injured. I hope that does not happen with Victor Wembanyama. 3 triple-doubles at plus 165 should be absolutely no problem for Wemby. Had 2 his rookie season, 1 last year prior to the injury.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It is exactly why, like you said, Donnie, this time of year is the absolute best in sports. And first off, the NBA returned to NBC. And hearing that theme music, seeing Mike Tirico back on the call, seeing Michael Jordan on the screen, it just felt right? Like an old friend that you haven't seen in decades that walks back into your life.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Back to the right here on Pro Football Today. Sunday night in Pittsburgh. The Ravens still booked as favorites, but with a loss would send Pittsburgh, I think, to a minus price to win the division. And that's before we get one of the great spots of this season. I don't know if it's a revenge spot, but it's a moment. It's Aaron Rodgers against the Green Bay Packers. One of the greats this league has seen, and certainly one of the greats in Packer history. Rodgers did it all. And now in Pittsburgh is at minimum trying to get them to the postseason. The Packers are looking to do what they haven't done since they did it with Rodgers, which is win a Super Bowl. And those are the expectations right now in Green Bay. What do you make, Joe, of the spot here with Rodgers versus his old team?
Well, before I go, I almost got freaked out. I saw Rodgers. Look at the graphic. I saw 2 Aaron Rodgers. I said, I haven't had enough coffee yet. But this is one of my better picks. I figured I'd get you. I was looking at you like, I see 2 Aaron Rodgers behind you. I really like this game. Now, Green Bay's won 2 in a row, right? But they haven't covered in 4 games now, Kev. Mm-hmm. You know, I think this is a perfect opportunity for Green Bay to dictate their style of play, which is blue collar on the road in Pittsburgh, run the football with Josh Jacobs, work off of play action, and I expect that front 7 to get after Aaron Rodgers early and often. I think this is a beatdown, believe it or not. I am not sold on Pittsburgh in this spot. I know they're coming off the disappointing road loss to Cincinnati on that Thursday night. I get it. They're motivated. They could have everything in front of them if Baltimore loses today. That's all well and good. But from just a style and matchup perspective, I think this is a bad one for the Steelers. And you could say Aaron Rodgers potentially could will this team to a victory. I just don't see it. Not up against this front 7, not up against the rushing attack of Josh Jacobs. And I still don't think Pittsburgh has an elite defense in any capacity. Yeah. I think they get exposed even at home tonight.
So I found myself on last Thursday knowing what I wanted in this game. Because to me, the same old Steelers would lose to Cincinnati, and it's exactly what they did. But that would mean that they would bring in a team like the Packers to their building and hang. So I figured, hey, going to get a good number here. They lost to Cincinnati. This is a Pittsburgh spot. I love the Packers as well. -2.5. The number is ridiculous. I am sorry. I get it. For those out there saying, Tomlin, dog, extra prep time. I get it. But unless I am just nuts on what I think of this Green Bay team, this number is insane to me. I'm sorry. At minimum, it should be 3.5. The Packers are significantly better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. A Steelers team, Joe, where, again, I know it's early. You play who's on the schedule, but what's the moment where we go, this Steelers team's for real? Was it the 2-point win against the Jets to start the season? Was it Seattle destroying them in this building?
No, it was the Patriots.
Oh, the game where they
5 fumbles.
Had 5 turnovers go their way. And were outgained by 160 yards? Yeah, I guess so.
But that's the one.
Booked as a dog against the Minnesota Vikings on a neutral. It was basically this number against Minnesota. The big-time win against Dylan Gabriel. I can't believe it's 2.5. And sometimes if I am set on a spot, it's that spot or not. I don't care. I, like you, laid it with Green Bay. And again, you can get 2.5 right now at -118.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is just a fantastic number. I'll add this. Rodgers is the story, of course. But the Packers are not a story. The Packers are the ones that moved on from him. Jordan Love is the reason that they made that decision. Matt LaFleur is a part of that decision. This means a lot for Green Bay and their key guys.
Yeah.
And it's not a Steelers defense that has given me any reason to believe, Joe, they can slow down Green Bay. It is kind of as always with Jordan Love. Maybe he slows himself down. We've seen it.
Right.
But if he doesn't, then this is a spot for the Packers to get right on offense and probably defense as well.
Well, just think about the loss to Cincinnati. From the defensive perspective, Pittsburgh knew what Flacco was going to do. It wasn't like Zach Taylor was going to run Chase Brown into the line of scrimmage 40 times and they were going to look to ground out a 6-3 win in Cincinnati, right? They knew that the old man was going to chuck it 40 to 45 times in that game and try to get the football to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and they still couldn't get a pass rush on Joe Flacco. Yeah. So, again, what's the situation tonight? Green Bay is going to come in on the road, and they're going to look to run the football down their throat early with Josh Jacobs. That's what Matt LaFleur does. I know this offense is a little bit changed from last year. We saw the evolution of Jordan Love in the passing attack. That's a huge benefit, big picture, for this team to make another jump at an NFC championship. But that front seven now is very difficult to run the football on. And if they can't run the football, Pittsburgh, they're going to be in predictable third downs, and Green Bay will get to Rodgers, unlike Cincinnati. I think this is – I'm willing to – and maybe I'm crazy and we know this, but I'm willing to alter it to like 6.5 in favor. I think they can win by double digits.
I fully agree. I really do. I mean, Micah Parsons – I think actually one of the I really enjoyed. I know sometimes people find this stuff to be annoying when they make one guy the central focus of a football game, which was what we saw with Micah Parsons in the matchup against the Detroit Lions in week number 1. Like, it was all about Micah. But again, I don't mind that. And I bring that up to say this. Parsons last week against Arizona was able to pin his ears back in a 3-sack performance, of course, his best as a Green Bay Packer. I wouldn't be surprised if we leave this game with Micah Parsons once feeling like the story. And I will tell you this, Joe, we haven't done a number of segments on Defensive Player of the Year odds, but the books are well aware that Parsons' talent plus narrative make him very, very dangerous. Because, like, Benito had jumped to the favorite, Hutchinson's having a great year, Parsons had a big game, plus 165. Like, they're not going to let you catch these big numbers on Micah, especially when he has the chance here in a primetime spot against Rodgers and the Steelers.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think it's a breakout performance, again, from the whole team, the front seven. Yeah. I think this defense for Green Bay is very physical. They're opportunistic, and they're very difficult to run the football on. And again, when we talk about styles making fights, this is a bad matchup, in my opinion, for Pittsburgh. And I know they want to run the football with Jaylen Warren, and they want to utilize maybe the ground and pound and get back to an identity so Aaron doesn't have to throw it 45 or 50 times. But that's going to be easier said than done. And again, they were able to move the football against a gutless Cincinnati defense. We know they're one of the worst in the league, and this is a different animal. Unless they win the turnover battle, which they can, and somehow score first and jump out to a lead, I just don't see how Green Bay doesn't win this ball game handily. I just think they're a much better football team, and I never was sold on Pittsburgh being an elite team with or without Aaron Rodgers from the start.
Yeah, I am. I will say, though, for Pittsburgh, I don't know how many teams can gain more with a win. Because you have, look, the Browns are done. We know that, right, from a division perspective. The Ravens today could potentially fall down to 1-6, and I think that would largely bury them. Cincinnati's interesting. They are booked as a tick under touchdown favorites against the Jets. We'll see if they handle their business. But again, they're still, fighting from the bottom right now as a 3-4 football team. But it's not just from a standings perspective. A Pittsburgh win here will stop, I think, guys like you and I thinking, listen, I know the record's there, right, but they're not that good. This is a level changer if they can get it.
It is, and that's why I think you're seeing 2.5s. Yeah. That mindset. Aaron going up against his former team, and oh, by the way, the Steelers can solidify themselves or separate themselves from the rest of the division is why I think you're seeing the movement down from 3 to 2.5.
We get now to one of the bigger stories on this Sunday, the Eagles wearing their Kelly greens. That's next right here on SportsGrid.
you watch a Mavericks game, every single play he's arguing with
Every
the
play.
referees. I mean, if I was
Like
the
this,
refs,
his hands are up. It's like, dude, everyone else is halfway up the floor right now. And you still back here arguing.
Yeah. I mean, I would tee him up. There is no doubt in my mind, Gabe, the NBA's got to go to these refs and say, listen, you know what? Swallow the whistle with him.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I am willing to bet on Wemby is a triple-double ladder season-long market. I did this actually with Caitlin Clark, who had a triple-double in Game 1 and then spent the rest of the season injured. I hope that does not happen with Victor Wembanyama. 3 triple-doubles at plus 165 should be absolutely no problem for Wemby. Had 2 his rookie season, 1 last year prior to the injury.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It is exactly why, like you said, Donnie, this time of year is the absolute best in sports. And first off, the NBA returned to NBC. And hearing that theme music, seeing Mike Tirico back on the call, seeing Michael Jordan on the screen, it just felt right? Like an old friend that you haven't seen in decades that walks back into your life.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh with you on this Sunday. And the A.J. Brown absence is something we talked about off the top and what it could mean for Philadelphia trading him or other teams around the league. But let's talk about what it means for today's game, Joe. The Eagles are a 7.5-point favorite pretty much anywhere you look, and that's a little disappointing to me. I thought this would be a really good spot to back Philly, and the number opening 7, I was excited about the Birds. I really thought it was a good number. You know me, spread math kind of guy. The Eagles laid 7.5 2 weeks ago against the Giants on the road. Remove the hook, back at home. Again, it's a great number. But now the hook is back, and A.J. Brown's out. It got me off the side. It's a little heavy, all things considered, in my opinion.
It is, and Cam Jurgens is out, so how does that affect the offensive line? And I'm
the way
just saying,
things are going, it might not be a bad thing. I hate to say it.
I know, but so you look at it.
Yeah.
Jurgens out, Brown out.
Yeah.
Line going, what we call a divergence, where, obviously it's going in the direction of the favorite. It's a revenge spot from, getting embarrassed. And it's not just a regular team, right? It's a rivalry in division. You got embarrassed on Thursday night. Saquon, his former team, I think it's a breakout performance of Philadelphia. I think they get back to basics. And on the flip side, we're not equating that the Giants are basically shell-shocked from, what happened. And 33 points in one quarter is a lot to recover from, okay? And this is a young football team with Jackson Dart, Scatteraboo, Tyrone Tracy, you name it. How do they recover, right? Just looking at Jackson Dart on the sidelines, to me, they're shell-shocked. And I really like Philadelphia in this spot. I think it's a heavy dose of Goddard. In the passing attack today, Devontae Smith's number is almost 75, 76. I'm not going to touch that. I think it's Goddard in the passing game. I do feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but Jalen Hurts has to get back to his game as well.
Yep.
And what I mean by that, RPO, scrambling, let's get first downs. He didn't do that. He only had 13 rushing yards in the loss to the New York Giants. I think the defense gets after it as well. I think it's a beatdown, double-digit win, 14+.
I want to stay on the Giants side of it, actually, for just a second here because, I picked them to make the playoffs. Slow start. But a win last week against Denver, they would be 3-1 with Dart. Wins against the Chargers, Eagles, and Broncos.
Right. Yeah.
That's a conversation.
Absolutely.
They are now 2-5, and their next 6 games at Philly, home against the Niners, at the Bears, home against the Packers, at the Lions, and at the Patriots. The Giants are going to be an underdog in every single one of these games, for the next 6 weeks. And on top of that, they may catch a touchdown, Joe, they are today in all of the road games, home against Green Bay. 5 of the next 6 games. Dart's sitting there as a, offensive rookie of the year favorite. I know it's been fun. The Giants' win total's 5.5 right now.
Yeah.
I don't think he's winning offensive rookie of the year on a 5-6 win football team, and I'm not sure they get to 6 wins in the moment.
No, and the back end also has Minnesota and Washington and Dallas, 3 of the last 4 to round out the regular season. It's a gauntlet of a schedule. And again, they're a young football team, and they were playing with confidence, and they were playing with swag, and they did that for basically 3.5 quarters, winning 19-0 against big bad Bo Nix and Denver, and the defense had stepped up and made plays, and everything was going their way. And then once they gave a little opening to Denver, they allowed it to slip, and they let go of the rope. There's no other way to describe it. And Brian Daboll, I don't think, has recovered potentially, and I don't think the team potentially is recovered. And they could walk into the Link today and show swag, but at the end of the day, this is a Philadelphia team that should be very upset, getting abused on the primetime matchup. And if the team plays like I think they do, Jalen Hurts tries to take this game over, and I think the defense looks to make a statement against a rookie quarterback.
So I think that's the element of it where maybe you and I, different thoughts. I don't know what to expect from Jalen today. He's coming off of a perfect passer rating game, first of the season. There maybe will be like one more this year. Those are not things that just happen on any type of regular basis. He did not run at all last week in the football game against the Minnesota Vikings. No A.J. Brown. And here's Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, under 50 yards, again, 2.4 a carry, no touchdown, no work in the receiving game. And I was wondering, Joe, am I going to be able to find a number? Because I'd like to get involved with Kelly Green, Saquon Barkley, the greatest player really in NFL history. That's where he jumped backwards over the Jaguar. That's where he went over 2,000, I think, wearing that
was
Kelly
a real
Green
Jaguar?
against Dallas. Yeah,
it was.
It might as well have been. It might as well have been. A Jaguar, Panther, and a Bengal. Line up all those Tigers if you gotta. To me, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to find a number that I feel good about, right? Rushing number's a little high. I was all over the attempts last week. And then I saw it. A number that Saquon Barkley actually has gone over in 2 of his last 3 games, believe it or not. Long rush, 16.5. Look, if Saquon is going to break out, it's today. If it's going to happen, Joe, it's today. But I'm not even getting the breakout number. Like, the breakout for Saquon's hitting a 30, 40, 50-yarder. 16.5. He hit that against the Giants.
Right.
I think on his first or second carry in that Thursday game. He hit it against Denver with only 6 carries in the football game. I think Saquon may hit this on his opening carry of the game. I'm on his long rush.
That's not a bad look. I mean, we talk about finding diamonds in the rough, and
How
that's it.
How do you feel about Devonta Smith today? No A.J. Brown. Monster performance last week. I think went for $183.
Yeah, you would say, obviously, he's going to be the main guy. But if you're the Giants and you're going into this game, you have to take away. If you have any shot to win this game, you take away or limit Devonta Smith.
Fair enough.
So that's why I think when I look at this game plan and I say, okay, how is it going to play out? I look at the success in the fourth quarter about Bo Nix. What did Bo Nix do? Well, he got going with his legs, 5 carries, 48 yards, and a tutty. That's where I think Jalen will run a little bit more. Maybe they do utilize Saquon to your point a little bit more and then work off of play action. So I think this game plan for me, Kev, is flipped from last week. I think it's run first, play action, where last week they didn't run.
We're going to spotlight some other quarterbacks next on SportsGrid.
if you watch a Mavericks game, every single play he's arguing with
Every
the
play.
referees. I mean, if I was
Like
a
this,
ref,
his hands are up. It's like, dude, everyone else is halfway up the floor right now. And he's still back here arguing.
Yeah. I mean, I would tee him up. There is no doubt in my mind, Gabe, the NBA's got to go to these refs and say, listen, you know what? Swallow the whistle with him.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I am willing to bet on Wemby is a triple-double ladder season-long market. I did this actually with Caitlin Clark, who had a triple-double in Game 1 and then spent the rest of the season injured. I hope that does not happen with Victor Wembanyama. 3 triple-doubles at plus 165 should be absolutely no problem for Wemby. Had 2 his rookie season, 1 last year prior to the injury.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It is exactly why, like you said, Donnie, this time of year is the absolute best in sports. And first off, the NBA returned to NBC. And hearing that theme music, seeing Mike Tirico back on the call, seeing Michael Jordan on the screen, it just felt right? Like an old friend that you haven't seen in decades that walks back into your life.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on the way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid. We are so back, it's outrageous. I just saw Joe's Sunday Morning Crunch in full for the first time, and something you said earlier is now fully connected in my brain. I'll explain what that is in just a little bit. Let's hit the Sunday Morning Crunch. Hit the thing. Oh, wow. You're crazy. This guy's crazy. Listen, I apologize to speak over everybody's favorite song. I really do. You know, it's one thing when we're doing in-game coverage, and I'm like, hey, what's your key? And you're like, just get the ball to the guy I need.
Right.
It's another thing when I ask you, how do the Ravens go about winning this football game?
Yeah.
It turns out, I don't know, 20 yards for Bateman, just turn the TV off. You are a miracle, my friend.
What?
Give me your crunch. Go ahead.
No, my crunch, we talk. It's amazing that, these prices are so low. It's insane. It's crazy. We talked about.
What's it, Black Friday?
Shop now. Thanksgiving's in
You're
a
in
week.
Lisi Mart. Whoa. Catch
Lisi
Lisi
Mart.
down the same aisle every single time.
That's it, right.
Go ahead.
Creature of habit. We talked about Philadelphia and the breakdown. I believe Jalen Hurts utilizes those legs today. 30.5 number. We talked about Bo Nix last week against the Giants. 5 carries, 48 yards, and a tutty. Jalen Hurts, to me, is the player that breaks out along with Saquon in the rushing attack today. James Cook, he could catch. I hope Joe Brady knows that, because 15.5 is a very light number. We know that Carolina has one of the best rush defenses. In back-to-back weeks contained Dallas to 81 yards. They contained the Jets and Breece Hall to 31 yards. Come on now. James Cook in the receiving game, 15.5. I think he could blow through that. And then Rashad Bateman, 17.5. The forgotten man. Oh, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. What about this guy running routes? The guy's running 18 routes a game. He doesn't get a look. 17.5, Snoop. Come on, Snoop.
I got to tell you, you surprised me even though I thought I had spoiled it.
What?
I didn't realize the James Cook thing was the receiving.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
Why?
It was your best bet. It was your best bet. It's Atlanta. They didn't throw him. It was third down, and they were calling timeouts to get him off the field. And you're like, well, you know what? They probably realized that.
And you know what? I tweeted at Brady, hey, Brady, last time I saw James Cook could catch the football. Stop with sweet baby Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. Put in James Cook in the receiving game.
I got to say.
5'2" player.
You might be the most real person I know that tweets at players and coaches. Like, that is supposedly
not derogatory, but just...
You've seen those Kyler tweets? Hey, at K1, you're gutless. What are you doing out there? Stop loafing around.
Yeah, with the look. Kyler Murray's look.
Let me give you my crunch while I still can breathe. C.J. Stroud, I believe, steps up in a major way against this Niners defense, which is banged up as can be. They have allowed 3 straight quarterbacks to throw for at least 240. In that stretch, they're actually averaging, allowing 295 per game. I know all the absences with Nico Collins and Christian Kirk. I think that gets us a depressed number here as the Iowa State duo and Dalton Schultz step up in a big way. Stroud over 206.5 passing yards. Let's keep it in the AFC South with Cam Ward over 20.5 completions. Ward in his first 5 games was completing 51.8% of his passes. Terrible. Last 2 games, 70.8. That's more like it from a first overall selection. If he can keep that percentage up, he'd only need 30 attempts. Luckily, his current attempts number is 34.5, and the Colts are seeing 39.3 pass attempts per game from opponents. They're a 14.5-point favorite. Cam Ward's going to have to throw the football today against Indianapolis. And lastly, call me a wheel if you want. Emeka Egbuka to the moon over the 73.5 receiving yards. Emeka has played 2 fully healthy games with Mike Evans out. And in those football games, not only has 100 yards in each, he has 264 total, a touchdown in both of them as well. I love Emeka Egbuka today to step up.
I like the over in the game, so I think it's a good look. I mean, no shocker with Cam Ward. We've been waiting for him in consistency. I like them actually plus the 14.5. I think it's too many points against Indianapolis. We'll see how that plays out. C.J. Stroud is very intriguing, though. I mean, this offense, no identity. They can't protect them.
They burned you, too. You showed me the ticket where you needed the anytime balls on the inch-yard line.
What was that?
Just sneak the ball.
I mean, really, two tries. Overthinking it.
Yeah, we got a couple of good QB props in here, though, all in all. Let's stick with the QBs and get you some important QB questions on this Sunday morning. It is pro football today. We are live on SportsGrid.
If you watch a Mavericks game, every single play he's arguing with the referees. I mean, if I was
like
a
this,
ref,
his hands are up. It's like, dude, everyone else is halfway up the floor right now. There's no back here arguing.
Yeah. I mean, I would tee him up. There is no doubt in my mind, Gabe, the NBA's got to go to these refs and say, listen, you know what? Swallow the whistle with him.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I am willing to bet on Wemby is a triple-double ladder season-long market. I did this actually with Caitlin Clark, who had a triple-double in Game 1 and then spent the rest of the season injured. I hope that does not happen with Victor Wembanyama. 3 triple-doubles at plus 165 should be absolutely no problem for Wemby. Had 2 his rookie season, 1 last year prior to the injury.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It is exactly why, like you said, Donnie, this time of year is the absolute best in sports. And first off, the NBA returned to NBC. And hearing that theme music, seeing Mike Tirico back on the call, seeing Michael Jordan on the screen, it just felt right? Like an old friend that you haven't seen in decades that walks back into your life.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.